SABC data shows unemployment declined by 0.2 percentage points to 32.7%. The survey shows that 169,000 jobs were gained between the third and the fourth quarter of last year. For more on this, I'm joined by Murendeni Nengovhela. He's an economist from Alex Forbes. Thank you very much for joining us, Murendeni. So the latest data shows that some 169,000 jobs were gained in the fourth quarter relative to the third. Any idea about the nature of those jobs, the sectors that saw the most growth, etc.?
Good afternoon to you and the viewers. Thank you so much for the invite. We are seeing some good numbers, at least, SA unemployment coming down for the fourth consecutive quarter. That is actually good. And what we are seeing in terms of job gains, looking at different sectors, finance, private and trade, private households, and then trade and transport. Those are the ones that are actually seeing the big gains. Obviously, if you look at trade, it's talking to the seasonal effect that we've actually seen in the fourth quarter, with more people actually going out to actually spend more during festive seasons. But what is worryingly, it's actually the job shed that we are seeing in the community and social services and construction and agriculture as well. If you look at agriculture, for example, it's actually a sector which is actually demands a lot of power. And what is really happening in the country, it's actually negatively impacting the sector, and that has actually led with some, firms actually letting some people, go, given that there are rising input costs in that, sector.
Yeah, well, we'll forecast a little bit about what you expect for the first quarter, but just sticking with the fourth quarter data, to what extent do you think the seasonal factors that you touched on, more people being employed in the retail sector, for example, to what extent does that create the illusion, if you like, that job numbers actually improved?
Obviously, what is worryingly, it's actually the rising labor force in the country, where more graduates are actually, coming out from universities and so forth. That has somewhat, led to us seeing this higher number in terms of the unemployment rate in the country. But however, if you look at the seasonal effect, if you look at trade, for example, 52,000 jobs were actually added in terms of, trade, which actually contributes significantly in terms of the SA, economy. And the finance as well, which remain robust. It's actually one of the big sectors in the economy. It continued to also do well. We saw the financial markets number as well. They actually did very well in the fourth quarter, given that the sentiment somewhat improved, globally.
So going forward, given what you referred to before, the cost of living, the cost of doing business, it's all rising because of the cost pressures that we're all experiencing with fuel and so on and so forth. And not to mention the load shedding situation, which means that you have to find alternative ways to power your business or your home. To what extent do you think that's going to result in the unemployment number reversing, that is basically increasing going forward?
Definitely. Thank you so much for the question. We are going to see, some more job shed, in the first quarter of this year, given the intensity of load shedding that we are actually experiencing. There's been a lot of, stage 6, with most companies unable to actually produce, goods, with some firms actually opting to actually close around 1 o'clock, during the day. That just tells you that output gap is more likely going to actually widen, and we are going to see more firms actually letting people go, and that will definitely see some reverse in terms of unemployment rate. For this quarter, we might see unemployment number increasing again by 0.4% in the quarter.
Yeah, so it's nice for us to talk about what's happened in the last quarter, what's happening in the following quarter, etc. But when you take a short to long term look at the unemployment situation, does South Africa have to be lumbered with these high level of unemployment rates, or do you see, as a young economist, do you see possible solutions to actually ensuring that we go back to a situation where we have normal unemployment levels?
Thank you so much for the question. But I think what's key, it's actually addressing the reforms that are, around energy, around the transportation sector, where we are seeing, companies like Transnet not being able to run effectively, where trucks now are on the road, helping with those exports of coal and so forth. So if we get, the energy issues resolved, and if we see Transnet coming to the party, we are going to see this number somewhat continue to come down. But, given that the track record of our government when it comes to implementation, it's actually poor, I am quite, worried about, the future of this country.
All right, Murendeni, thank you so much for your insights there. That was Murendeni Nengovhela. He's an economist at Alex Forbes.